Hey everyone, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have more than a handful of skincare products to share with you all that I think will be great additions to your skincare routine during these colder, drier months. Where I live in Ontario, the weather is officially in the negatives, so that means my condo building's heat is turned on and my skin started to feel dehydrated more quickly throughout the day. So that prompted me to adjust my skincare routine accordingly to make sure my skin is better at holding in that moisture. The products I'll be sharing with you all are the ones that I noticed that I reach for the most out of my entire skincare collection during this time of year. They are a mix of my own purchases and PR samples. Some of them I was using since last winter. Others were introduced to me during the summer, but I felt like it was a little bit too rich for my skin at the time. And others I've been introduced to these past couple of months. But either way, I feel like I've tried them all out long enough to feel comfortable talking about it with you all. The main skincare items I will be sharing with you all classify as hydrators. So hydrating toners, essences, lotions, serums, ampoules, emulsions, stuff like that. And the reason for that is because I find them the easiest to incorporate in a skincare routine, especially if you have your go-to basics. Majority of these skincare products do the same thing, which is just to help add that moisturizing layer on your skin. But what I find about these products in particular is that they're really good at leaving a nice moisturizing film as well, and they're particularly more emollient. Although these products more or less do the same thing, they differentiate in their texture as well as their key ingredients. So there's a little bit of everything in here when it comes to soothing the skin, brightening the skin, strengthening your skin's barrier, or if you just simply want a nice moisturizing addition into your skincare routine. Even though the bulk of the products are hydrators, I have also included some cleansers as well as moisturizers and some popular occlusives from the drugstore. In the next portion of this video, I swatched every single product so you get an idea about the texture. I also did my best to mention the key ingredients of each skincare product just so you get an idea of how it may potentially perform in your own skincare routine in addition to the moisturizing aspect. This video is quite lengthy, so I have left some timestamps down below. If you're interested in a certain product, you could just skip right to it. Having said that, let's get right into the swatches. So the first set of recommendations that I have are non-foaming cleansers. So this is the Geek and Gorgeous 101 Jelly Joker Cleanser, and this one is the La Roche-Posay Toleriane Dermo-Cleanser. So what I like about non-foaming cleansers in the winter time is that I feel like my skin in general is just way less compromised. With both these cleansers in particular, if my skin were to be no longer damp after cleansing, I never find my skin feels stripped or tight. My skin still feels fairly soft and comfortable, so that's what I really like about these two. Both of these cleansers are low pH, around 5.5, so similar to our own skin's acid mantle, and both of them have moisturizing ingredients in them as well. For the Jelly Joker, I'm not going to get into too much detail with this just because I have reviewed it in full, but this does have moisturizing ingredients from sugar molecules, and it also has the classic soothing ingredients allantoin and panthenol. For the Dermo-Cleanser, this is a lotion type texture, and actually when you look at the ingredients list, there is no obvious cleansing agent back here. I did stumble upon a blog post, however, describing how this is actually cleansing. From what I recall, it is the ethyl hexyl palmitate that is doing the cleansing. So that ingredient is an alternative to mineral oils. So if we are thinking along the lines of oil cleansing, then this is actually cleansing as like a first cleanse. But I've used it as both a first cleanse and a second cleanse, and it works fine. If I actually use this as a first cleanse, so I apply this on dry skin, but then wipe my face with a cotton round, there is more of a moisturized film left over, but this does rinse off pretty well. I don't find it super greasy after I've used it. This is what the two cleansers look like. As you can see, the La Roche-Posay one is quite milky and a bit more running, and the Jelly Joker kind of holds its gel form more, but this still spreads pretty thinly, and this one spreads thinly as well. Both of them feel very nice. Alright, so next set of recommendations are hydrators. So I got some hydrating toners here. I also have some lotions and ampoules. Hydrators are kind of a broad range. It's just a matter of like what kind of vehicle do you like? For example, the toners would be the thinnest one, and then there's lotions, which are somewhat more viscous than a toner, and then the ampoules are probably the thickest out of the bunch, but they're not quite a moisturizer. It is a little bit confusing, but most importantly, it's the texture that you want. So I'm starting with toners. So this one is the COSRX Propolis Synergy Toner. This is a new one in my collection. And I also have the I'm From Rice Toner. This is actually my second bottle of this toner. The reason I wanted to recommend hydrating toners is it's probably one of the most common skincare items anyone could have in their collection, especially if you're into K-beauty or Asian beauty in general. And what I like about these two in particular is that they both have a very light consistency, so very watery. However, they do leave quite a moisturizing film. So instead of buying like a bunch of other products to layer, you can just use the hydrating toner that you have and layer it a few times. You don't have to do the 7 skin method. I personally can use these toners up to 3 times max, and my skin's fairly comfortable. But again, what I like about these ones is that despite the light consistency, there is a bit more of a moisturizing film compared to other hydrating toners I've tried. What differs from these two basically is the main ingredient that they decided to go for to use as the moisturizing base. So this one uses propolis extract. I believe there's 72% in here, and this one uses rice extract at 77.78%. So both of those ingredients are primarily moisturizing. I would say the propolis one leans more on the soothing side, whereas the rice toner leans more on skin softening and also brightening. As you can see, both are very watery textures. Nice and light. Definitely, again, the lightest hydrators out of the bunch that I have here, but you could still layer with them. So feeling both sides, they definitely have a moisturized layer going on. And as you can imagine, if I were to layer that, it would be a little bit more prominent. But toners do tend to sink into the skin more, so it'll still be a lighter film. All right, next set of products are the lotions. Come back here. So this one is the Rovectin Skin Essentials Activating Treatment Lotion. This is the original Hada Premium Lotion. I'm just throwing it in here as an ode to it. And the last one here is the Laneige Cream Skin Refiner. So similar to the toners in terms of their more watery consistency, but they're definitely a lot more viscous. Some of you might want something with more body than something more watery like the hydrating toners. And they leave more of a moisturized finish compared to the hydrating toners. I would say the Rovectin one is the lightest. The Hada Premium and the Laneige Skin Refiner, I feel like they pretty much match each other in terms of that moisturized finish, that emollients. But the difference between these two actually is the texture of this one, which really surprised me, and this is kind of what makes it a standout product in my collection. But before I get into these two, I'll start with the Rovectin one. So the Rovectin Skin Essentials Activating Treatment Lotion, I kind of consider this as a jacked up version of the Hada regular hyaluronic acid lotion, just because I find it sinks into the skin a lot better than that formula. This does have a number of hyaluronic acid molecules, but it also has ingredients that are a mix of soothing and brightening as well, so it just has a little bit extra going for it. And again, out of the 3 lotions I'm featuring, I would say this is the lighter one. Hada Premium Lotion Original. Why did you have to change? From what I recall looking at the ingredients list of the new one, I believe there's a couple of more hyaluronic acid molecules. So the original one has 5, so the new one I think has 7, and I believe there are fermented ingredients in the new one. And I believe hydroxyethylurea is still in the formula. I feel like my skin will be fine with it once I run out of this and purchase that one. It's just more of why even change it in the first place. This was very beloved, and I don't know, I just feel kind of sad because this one was great. This was like borderline holy grail. All right, and the last one here, the Laneige Cream Skin Refiner. This seriously is one of a kind. It's unlike anything I've tried before. I know I said previously that lotions have a more viscous texture, as you can see from the Hada Premium Lotion, whereas this one, it is quite watery. I don't even know what this is actually classified as, if it's a hydrating toner, is it a lotion, is it an essence? I'm classifying it as a lotion just because the finish reminds me of one. But as you can see in the bottle alone, it is quite watery, But don't let that fool you. This packs quite a punch for moisture. The main ingredient in here is green tea extract. And Leah, you did a great video explaining the process behind creating this product. So I'll leave a link to that down below if you're interested. But the main thing you need to know about this is that it is very moisturizing. So first up, Rovectin. Next up, Hada Labo Premium Lotion. It's pretty similar to the Rovectin one. And then this is the Laneige Cream Skin Refiner. And as you can see, it is a texture similar to the I'm From Rice Toner. The Laneige one is super thin. Hada Labo one is definitely thicker. And then the Rovectin one, yeah, it does feel thinner than the Hada Labo one. I kind of made my skin a little bit red from smacking it too much, but other than that, you kind of get the point of those three lotions. They are really moisturizing, more so than a hydrating toner. A great addition to your skincare routine during the colder months when it's really dry. And if you want a lighter consistency but still packs a moisturizing punch, that is when this Laneige Cream Skin Refiner comes in. Alright, my hands feel so good right now. Last of the hydrators category are ampoules / serums. So these are the three that kind of came to mind when I was thinking of creating this video, because again, they are quite moisturizing. They leave a moisturizing film. The film is thicker than the lotions that I have mentioned, but you only need a few drops of these. They all have a plant extract as their base, and the common denominator between those plant extracts is that they are soothing and are antioxidants. I'm going to start off with the Pyunkang Yul Moisture Ampoule just because I find this texture to be quite different compared to the other two serums / ampoules I'm going to be mentioning. So for this texture, if you are familiar with the Pyunkang Yul products, it's similar to the balancing gel, which is like a weird sticky thick gel that takes a bit of time to spread across the skin. This one is kind of like the lighter version of that. I find it also easier to work with and it's not as sticky. I think this dropper is terrible. It doesn't pick up the serum at all inside. I don't find the finish to be similar to the ampoules in the sense that the ampoules have a more emollient finish, kind of like borderline oily, whereas this one reminds me of something that's more humectant dominant, so it's a little bit lighter in the finish. I don't want to say the texture is gluey because I don't find it disgusting, but it just takes a bit of time to move around on the skin, and it really hugs your skin as well. And I find the finish of this moisturizing, but light, fresh, and pleasant. So if I don't want to use something that is super rich, but it's still hydrating and leaves that film, that's when I like reaching for the Pyunkang Yul one. And sorry about the bottle, it's kind of gross, but whatever. But yeah, it just kind of feels like it's really adhering to the skin. So for the last two items of this category, this is the by Wishtrend Polyphenols in Propolis 15% Ampoule, and this is the Jumiso Super Soothing Cica and Aloe Facial Serum. So the Pyunkang Yul one has the Coptis chinensis root extract as its main plant extract for soothing and antioxidant, whereas the by Wishtrend Polyphenols and Propolis has 59% Hotunia cordata extract, which is a traditional Chinese medicinal plant, and Jumiso contains 41% Centella asiatica and 31% aloe extract. Another thing I like about these two ampoules is that they are loaded with additional skin-friendly ingredients. So for the by Wishtrend Polyphenols in Propolis, in addition to the Hotunia cordata and the Propolis, this also contains zinc PCA, which is a nice humectant that is also anti-acne. There's also turmeric in the formula for brightening. This also has glycerin and sodium hyaluronate. I believe there's also panthenol in here as well. In addition to the bulk of this formula being Centella asiatica and the aloe extract, this also contains the Centella asiatica constituents, the madecassoside and the asiaticoside. This also has a handful of hyaluronic acid molecules. I believe this also has some amino acids in here. This also contains plant oils as well as glycerin and niacinamide. So this is loaded with a lot of really good stuff, but I know for some people that might be a bit much. So if you want something with a more simple formula, I would say the by Wishtrend is just that. If you want something even simpler, that is where the Pyunkang Yul Moisture Ampoule comes in. Either way, no matter which one you choose, I like both of them a lot, and I actually reached for the Jumiso one quite a bit when my skin was feeling a little bit sensitive, now that I'm sort of retinizing again because I have moved to 0.1% tretinoin. So on some of the days my skin's feeling a bit sensitive, I actually like reaching for this one a lot. In terms of texture, they're both pretty similar. And as I mentioned prior, I find just a few drops on your face suffices for moisture. But here I am putting 2 of each on one hand. This one doesn't look as colored as this one. This one has more of a green tinge to it, and this one is a little bit runnier, so I guess it is going to be the thinner one out of the two. This one feels really fresh, by the way, when I applied it. Nice and cooling. Both of these have pretty much set on the skin, just like all the other products here. There's a nice moisturizing film, but I do think these two ampoules in particular have some of the richest finish, very on par to the Laneige Cream Skin Refiner. So moving on to moisturizers, I actually have 3 I want to recommend, but one isn't here because I did finish it, and it's like a cut up tube now, so it's not that nice. But the one that I want to recommend that's not featured is the La Roche-Posay Lipikar. That one was recommended by a reviewer and I thought it performed really well. So basically what that moisturizer and these ones have in common is that they leave a very good moisturizing finish. Not only do the 3 moisturizers lock in all the layers of moisture that I may have applied prior, none of these have congested my skin in any ways. Just a reminder, I am acne prone, normal to dry skin. I haven't found those moisturizers to congest my skin in any way. They do a great job of lasting a good part of the day at keeping my skin comfortable. And all 3 have also softened my skin in time. The La Roche-Posay Lipikar one, the main ingredients were 30% shea butter, I believe, and 4% niacinamide. The La Roche-Posay one definitely had more of a glow than the 2 here, but I personally didn't mind it. I don't mind a glowy finish nowadays. But just so you know, if you don't really like super glowy finishes, but you like the sound of how moisturizing it is, you might want to consider using it as a nighttime moisturizer. Starting with the Bioderma Atoderm Intensive Balm, this is my holy grail moisturizer. I am almost at the end of this bottle. This is the 4th one, and I do have the 5th one as a backup. So this contains moisturizing ingredients such as glycerin, phytosphingosine, ceramides, NP, AP, and EOP, I believe. It also has cholesterol, mineral oil in here, which I personally don't mind. It also has a couple of plant oils, and it also contains zinc gluconate, which is very soothing, and it has wound healing properties as well. So as you can imagine, for my acne prone, normal to dry skin, this is great. This is actually the first moisturizer I found to actually satisfy my skin's moisture so well, and my skin did not feel as dehydrated throughout the day. Obviously, now that I've done my skincare routine for a longer period of time, it feels a lot more comfortable and I have less issues with dryness and dehydration. Part of that is using this in my skincare routine. Moving on to the Cetaphil Baby Eczema Calming Moisturizer. This says it's new. I'm not sure how new it is because I did see like an adult version of this without the 1% colloidal oatmeal in this. This is a drugstore gem. So not only does this have 1% colloidal oatmeal, which is a great soothing ingredient, it is also an antioxidant. This also contains the 2 popular soothing ingredients, allantoin and panthenol. This also has the glycerin, sodium hyaluronate, sodium PCA in here. It also has a ceramide in here, arginine. There's also niacinamide in here, and tocopherol acetate, which is a form of vitamin E. This is pretty good at moisturizing. It's definitely a thinner consistency than the Bioderma one and the La Roche-Posay one, but I still find it does a pretty good job nonetheless. Okay, so this is the Cetaphil one, and this one is the Bioderma one. This one looks a little bit lighter in consistency in this form, but I'll just start massaging it into the skin. The Bioderma one, it feels like it's hugging my skin, and the Cetaphil one, it's starting to feel thinner and definitely like a lotion, a bit more watery. Yeah, the Cetaphil one feels like it thinned out as I spread it throughout my hand, whereas the Bioderma one has kept that emollient consistency. So if you're not as dry as me, you might like the Cetaphil one, but if you sound as dry as I am, then you'll love the Bioderma one. I use a whole pump of this on my face and neck in the wintertime. Also note to the Canadians that love using the Bioderma Atoderm Intensive Balm, I believe there was a formula change to it because I noticed a difference in consistency a little bit with the older version. And from what I compared with the old and new bottle, it looks like it's just the bottom ingredients that are different. Otherwise, the bulk of the formula is the same. So this is what my hand looks like now that both moisturizers are rubbed in. My hand feels very good right now with all the layers I apply to it. The Bioderma side again feels more moisturizing than the Cetaphil side just because of how thinned out it got as I massaged it in. But again, I still find it does a good job at satisfying my skin's moisture levels, especially if I use a bit more of the Cetaphil. Oh my god, what do we have here? Some slug-worthy items to share. So if you're not familiar with what slugging is, it's basically just applying Vaseline over your face at night. This has been around for a long time. I remember Tyra Banks losing her shiz over Vaseline. I believe Marilyn Monroe has applied Vaseline at night as well, and your grandmother, your mother have probably done it too. These are all heavy with petrolatum, Vaseline being 100% petrolatum, and these ones having maybe 40 or 50% of it in it. Since the whole point of the products prior was to replenish all that moisture in your skin and the moisturizer to be a nice seal, the Vaseline, the Cerave Healing Ointment, or the Aquaphor are going to be even better at sealing all of that moisture in your skin. My skin always feels super comfortable the next morning. It doesn't feel as dry. Even if I ran out of water in my humidifier, my skin can survive by just applying one of these occlusives over top. These are all very affordable. You could find them at your drugstore. For those of you in Canada, we have the Cerave Baby Healing Ointment. For some reason, we don't have the regular one. I don't know why. They're pretty much the same formula. But anyways, check out the baby section to find this. Otherwise, Vaseline can be found anywhere. Aquaphor is pretty popular too. As I've said, Vaseline is 100% petrolatum, so for those of you with sensitive skin, you want to keep the ingredients in your skincare to a minimum. Vaseline or any other cheap brand of 100% petrolatum is a good start. If you want to move up from Vaseline, I recommend CeraVe's Healing Ointment, just because this has the same ingredients found in all CeraVe products, which are the ceramides. This one also contains hyaluronic acid, some mineral oil, and panthenol for soothing. Aquaphor is really nice. This also has mineral oil blended in with the petrolatum. This also contains lanolin alcohols. There is also glycerin in here, and panthenol and bisabolol both are soothing ingredients. Even though this comes out pretty thick, it does thin down pretty easily. Vaseline. Oh shit. Some CeraVe Baby Healing Ointment, which I put too much of. And the Aquaphor. Vaseline, CeraVe, Aquaphor. Vaseline surprisingly looks a bit thinner than the Aquaphor. Aquaphor just kept its shape. I think my CeraVe Baby Healing Ointment is separating a little bit, but it still blends out to a thinner consistency. And for the Aquaphor, as you can see, it just melted pretty easily. And when I do this, they all feel very similar. And yep, this is what your face is gonna look like at night, a nice glazed donut. Last for this swatch clip, I wanted to recommend the I'm from Honey mask. This is my second jar of this mask. It is my favorite moisturizing mask I have ever come across. So this contains 38.7% honey. Honey is not only a great moisturizing ingredient, it is also antibacterial and it is very soothing. I remember back in the day, I used to put raw honey on my face and it did a great job at reducing inflammation from any active pimples that I had. Whereas this one, obviously, is not only more cosmetically elegant, it is more well preserved and formulated with additional ingredients. I particularly like reaching for this when I am taking a bath. My skin is just left feeling comfortable as I soak. It doesn't feel dried out. I have also on occasion have left this on my face for a couple of hours. My skin has never looked bad. It has never dried out, never felt irritated. At the time when I first started using this, I had a lot of inflamed cystic acne on my face. Wearing this for a couple of hours actually helped reduce that inflammation and my skin felt really good. It didn't feel sore or sensitive. For additional ingredients, this also contains some oils in here. Shea butter is in this as well. This also contains beta-glucan, which is a nice soothing ingredient. Tocopherol acetate. There's some snail secretion filtrate in here, which is a nice moisturizing, soothing ingredient as well. This is just all around a nice moisturizing mask to use. Really good at soothing, lowering inflammation. I can't rave about it enough. So typically you do want to mix it beforehand with the spatula they gave you. As you can see, some of the ingredients are not mixed at the bottom here. I don't have it on hand with me right now, so I'm just going to show you the swatch as is. So yes, I dipped my fingers into it. So that is what the mask looks like, and you don't need a lot to spread this all over your face and neck, since it spreads quite easily and it feels quite thin on the skin. It doesn't feel heavy. And that is it for this video. As always, I hope you find content like this helpful and informative. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel down below for future videos, leave a comment if you have any questions or recommendations yourself, and I will see you all soon. Ciao.